Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 12th and final round.
Right hand, Golovkin steps in and down he goes again. Unbelievable. Mayweather makes him pay. What a rookie mistake. A sensational left hook by De La Hoya.
It's facts. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
From Southern California, this is the Last Round Podcast.
Episode 36 of The Last Round. Mike, are you crying? Because of Anthony Joshua? Because he lost? Because your fellow countrymen lost? Is that tears in your eyes I see?
Tears, hungover.
It just got you, huh? Just got you.
It was a busy weekend. We had the Champions League final and then Anthony Joshua, Anthony Ruiz. So
yeah, I just, you texted me after with a bunch of crying emojis. And I was like, oh, man, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? But obviously a big weekend of fights, or a big weekend of a fight, one in particular, obviously. But once again, as I mentioned, this is episode 36 of the Last Round Podcast. I'm Danny Z, along my co-host, Mike Shepard. And like I said, heavyweight matchup this past Saturday at Madison Square Garden in New York City on DAZN between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz Jr., which is arguably the biggest upset in modern history, at least in recent years. And before we get into reviews of the fights and previews of what's upcoming in the next week or so, we actually have a very, very formidable guest to be able to speak on this topic in terms of the heavyweight division, Wilder, Ortiz. He's fought Ortiz, he's fought Wilder, he's currently in camp with Joseph Parker as he's prepping him for his upcoming bout. Heavyweight Malik King Scott is on the line. Thank you for joining us, man.
I appreciate it. What's going on, fellas?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. So as I mentioned to our listeners, you're currently in camp with Joseph Parker in Las Vegas, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always in camp with Joseph Parker. He's a good friend of mine, and he's fighting Eric Molina right now. I'm gonna just say this about Joseph Parker. He came into camp already on fight weight, so that goes to show how serious he's taking this half of his career. And I know the heavyweight division is alive and well. We had a very, very big upset, not just in the heavyweight division, but in boxing. That Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz upset was something special. It'll never be forgotten. But I still believe Anthony Joshua is who he was before the fight. You know what I mean? That was an off night. That was a bad night at the office because of Andy Ruiz. And I believe AJ, if he is what he always claimed to be and what people always claim him to be, then he'll bounce back just like the great ones have. Lennox Lewis been knocked out, came back. The Joe Lewis's of the world. You know what I mean? This has happened. So, now we get to see what AJ is really made out of.
So Joseph Parker was in attendance in New York. Were you there as well, Malik?
No. I stayed here in camp. I didn't go to New York because he did the big announcement that he's with DAZN. So, he had to go over there and handle that business. And, I just been here training in camp, wait for them guys to get back. And they're back now, so we about to get back to work.
Awesome. So I take it that you watched it from Las Vegas. Especially in that third round, obviously, is when the action really picked up between Joshua and Ruiz Jr. Joshua went down, or actually Ruiz, went down first from that left hook from Joshua, and then came back and knocked him down twice. Tell me, did you think, as many other people think, because Eddie Hearn, of course, as Joshua's promoter, and other people thought that when Ruiz went down that first time in the third round, they thought it was over. Did you think that as well?
I'm gonna say this: everyone that's in the know, when it comes to this sweet science, we all knew that Joshua was in for a hell of a fight. The people that's in the know of the sport, that know boxing, they all knew Angel Ruiz. He, on any given day, he could beat anybody. He has a pain in the ass style. He's very tough. His body is deceiving because he's faster. I did some interviews before the fight, and I was trying to tell some of the correspondents that Angel Ruiz don't just have some of the fastest hands in the heavyweight division. He has some of the fastest hands in boxing. And with his feet, he cover a lot of ground so quick. That's why if you notice when he had Joshua hurt, for him to be the weight that he is, he got to Joshua so quick And in my opinion, they were saying that AJ is one of the best finishers. I believe Andy Ruiz has always been one of the best finishers in the sport. It's just a lot of his good fights was under the radar. A lot of Andy Ruiz's whole career was basically under the radar besides the Joseph Parker fight. And a lot of people just didn't know about him. So, it was a good thing. I honestly would prefer to see Deontay Wilder knock AJ out that night. I've been wanting to see them two guys in the ring against each other for the last year and a half or the last 2 years, how all of us have. But Andy Ruiz is the man. He came in and got the job done. He made no excuses before the fight. He was sound and very confident. He was smiling all the way through the ring walk. He looked like he was happy to be there. When AJ ring walk came up, he didn't even give me the same feel of electricity when AJ is about to do his ring walk. This is not to give Ruiz any type of this is not to knock Ruiz win at all, but when I look at pictures and I look at videos and I just look how AJ was looking before the fight, the night of, he just didn't have the same magic. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe the moment finally got to him. So it's tons of pressure on the kid. You know what I mean? Gold medalist, like just so many different things he's responsible for. He's responsible for performing good, because if he would have went in there and knocked Andy Ruiz out like that, he wouldn't have got no credit for it. People would have said, well, he should have knocked out the short, fat Mexican, this, that, and the third. But Andy Ruiz had everything to gain when he fought AJ, and he gained it all on that night. So congratulations to Andy Ruiz, man. He deserved it.
Malik, what would you have said to someone? You're more experienced than Joshua, and you've been in those big fights.
I can't hear you, brother.
What would you say to someone like AJ before a big fight like that? You've been in big fights, and you've kind of got more experience than he has. He was, carrying matchroom boxing, on his back pretty much. So what would you say to someone like that?
After the fight or before?
Like before the fight.
The only thing you can say is what the only thing that is possible, humanly possible. Just go and be yourself. Yourself is what got you here. Don't lose focus of that fact. That whole moment was created because AJ was who he was. I don't know if it had something to do with lifestyle. I don't know if it was the pressure. I don't know. But I heard Dylan White say something that made so much sense to me. It just never seemed like AJ wanted to be in there. From right off the rip, his left hand was low by the waist. He was on the back foot a lot. Even though I understand he's boxing Ruiz, AJ usually comes out right off the rip and demand his respect by, letting his hands go. I don't know. I was doing some daydreaming on that fight today, and what I really believe is this. I believe there's a chance that when AJ looked across the ring and looked at a guy that was opposite of everything that he is, AJ is everything Andy Ruiz is, AJ is not. And the fear of losing to someone that looked like Andy Ruiz in front of all those people, in front of that big stage, I don't know, it may have got to him. You know what I mean? We all are trying to wrap our heads around this thing, but at the same time, we're making sure we give Andy Ruiz the credit he deserved. But in my strong, humbled opinion, AJ just didn't seem like he wanted to be in there. Even when he had an opportunity to tell the ref he was okay, to step forward. When Tyson Fury got knocked down by Deontay, it looked like he was dead. But when he got up off his feet, it looked like he still wanted to fight. It looked like he still wanted to be there. The ref said, walk to me. Tyson didn't walk to the ref. He trotted to the ref. He did. He really still wanted to be there after getting hit and brought back basically from the dead by the biggest punch in the history of the sport, Deontay Wilder. Tyson Fury still looked like he wanted to be in there after that. And to me, AJ, from the minute that things started to go left, even though he kept getting up, it still looked like he didn't want to be in there. Like, you know what I mean? And you must give him credit for the way he handled his defeat after the fight. He didn't make no excuses. When people was trying to give him an excuse, he was saying, no, this is Andy's night. Congratulations to Andy. Andy. That's all he kept saying after the fight. So you got to respect the man for that. He didn't make no excuses. He got to pull his pants up now and, just go back to the drawing board and regroup. So many great fighters have done this before him. The heroes before us have done this. Now it's his turn. So we'll see, is he able to do it or not? You know what I mean? But I'm sure it was a tough night for him, tough loss. But at the end of the day, let's not forget, we're talking about a boxing match that Anthony Joshua lost. A boxing match. Now, if we're talking about the game of life, he been won this 10 fights ago. So I just hope, even during this time, he's not losing perspective of the big picture, because all of us fighters are in this to make history and provide for our families. Anthony Joshua has done that twice. He has made history. He is providing for his family. Yeah, he lost a boxing match, but to keep it in the proper perspective, he's winning in life. And that's, like, to me, the most important part during these times, because so much pressure was on him. Like, you just never know where a man's head is at. And we're in the era of the internet is undefeated. They already started the memes. The people that was on his side has already switched sides. Like, you know what I mean? And if you don't have tough skin, it can break you. That's just the times that we're in. And, I believe Anthony Joshua has tough skin. I believe he understands human nature. And I believe he understands the fight game. And if you understand those three things, he should bounce back better than ever. But we'll see. The jury is out on him now more than ever.
Absolutely. And, Malik, I'm glad that you mentioned, that not just you, but a lot of people have noticed that something was kind of off about Joshua. Whether it's true or not, it's out there. There's a narrative out there. People are talking about. There's a social conversation at the moment right now. In terms of that, especially being in the ring, and especially you being a professional fighter and a veteran, and especially being in the heavyweight division, there was that notion that when Ruiz caught Joshua, I believe it was with the right hook, like on the temple, he might have concussed him. Like, just from your experience as a professional fighter, do you think that there's any truth to that maybe he was concussed, or maybe he just, especially with the stuff that he was reportedly saying in his corner, like, what punch put me down and stuff like that? You as a fighter, what do you think?
I believe Angel Ruiz took him into a dark room he's never been in before. I believe he took him in waters that he never had to swim in before. I think that whole scenario, I think all of that was very unfamiliar to Anthony Joshua, because he didn't handle it like he'd been there before. You know what I mean? And I don't know. When I seen Deontay get clipped by Ortiz, Deontay handled it well. He grabbed Ortiz, he shuck and jobbed him, he survived the round and came back. When AJ got hurt by Vladimir Klitschko, he got knocked down, got up, he shook it off, and came back. I truly believe there's more to this than AJ just losing to Angel Ruiz. I believe there was things going on, man. Like, and we don't know, but I heard somebody else say something as well today. AJ was fighting like somebody. I'm a fighter, you know what I mean? So us boxers, there's a such thing as going like a little gun shy when you have a tough training camp, or been knocked down in training camp, or then took some hell of a shots in training camp. It looked like the way how he was fighting, it just looked like as if he just got knocked down in training camp, or just was getting beat up in training camp. I just never seen AJ look like that. I have seen this dude in top competition. I warned people that he was coming and was going to beat Vladimir Klitschko after the first time I seen him box Vladimir Klitschko. I was telling people, yeah, he's next. He's going, you know what I mean? So this is not a thing of he lost to a good fighter just because it's the first time he fought a good fighter. No, because his resume is incredible. He fought the Dylan Whites. He fought the Joseph Parkers. He fought the Povetkin's. He fought, like, you know what I'm saying, the Vladimir Klitschko's. He beat him convincingly. So now that he's fighting Angel Ruiz, I just believe that the least you would think someone of AJ's status would be able to do would be at least to survive the storm. Deontay survived the storm against Ortiz. Deontay survived the hurt time against Eric Molina. He survived those times and came back and made his opponents pay. AJ did that against Vladimir Klitschko, and I just don't understand why he wasn't able to do that against Angel Ruiz, against a shorter fighter, against a fighter that ability-wise and physique-wise, he can't really compare to AJ. And I don't know. I just expected that was something for me to see, man, because I really didn't expect that, even though I knew Ruiz wasn't going to be no easy fight, because I said in interviews before that he's not an easy fight for no one. But I still would have picked AJ to win, as I did. You know what I mean? And anybody in their right mind that knows AJ and been following his career and following Ruiz's career, a smart man was betting on AJ. You know what I mean? Anybody else that bet on Ruiz was just taking a chance on luck. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, everything on paper matches up really for AJ to have won that fight. He didn't win it because God said no. And that's something I speak a lot on my social media. Whatever it is you believe in, whatever it is you pray to, I don't care what religion, what creator, what universe. Sometimes the universe, creator, or God says no, and you have to be able to accept it. And that's one thing I give Anthony Joshua credit for. After the fight, there was no excuses. He accepted it, and he gave props to the man that was the best man on that night, which was Andy Ruiz. So it is what it is, man. I would prefer actually to see him and Deontay in the ring. In my opinion, the spice is gone because he just, not just lost to Ruiz, but he lost. It wasn't like he got hit with a shot and then he was knocked out, because then you could say it was a lucky shot. The way how that fight went, I don't think AJ probably can't even win the rematch, because if he was haunted fighting Andy Ruiz now, this is before the fight. This is before he even fought him. So imagine how he is probably after fighting Andy Ruiz. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. The pressure to me doesn't go down on AJ. The pressure is really applying on him now. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's even more pressure for him to deal with. And we're going to see, man, it was a tough night for him. But like I said before, he'll bounce back if he is what he say he is.
Do you think that if Jarrell Big Baby Miller never tested positive, you think Jarrell Miller could have pulled that off?
I don't know, because Jarrell Miller is not as fast as Angel Ruiz. I think speed, being able to cover ground, being able to get to a guy with the double, triple jab to the chest. It was a hell of a madness. It was a hell of a method behind Angel Ruiz's madness the other night. The kid is fast, and he's deceiving, and he punches very hard. Anybody that ever boxed him always came back and told me, yo, that kid is the truth. Not one person, as far as boxing, has ever had anything bad to say about Angel Ruiz. The only thing people say is talk about his shape. You take that away, Angel Ruiz is considered one of the best heavyweights in the world, easily, too. It's not even to think about. This is why the comments by Stephen A. Smith took the wrong way, as they should, because the regular civilian that's in his basement that don't know nothing about the sport but just know about the sport, and he's watching the fights and he's going to say, oh, this guy is Butterbean. How the hell AJ lose to him? He can have that right. He get a pass, those kind of people. But Stephen A. Smith, you're supposed to be a responsible correspondent, a slight journalist. You're supposed to know this noble art. You're supposed to do homework on opponents and champions and stuff like that if you're going to be in this sport. For him to just call and just write, and this is after Ruiz won. Say if he would have said that before, AJ is fighting some guy like Butterbean. Okay, we'll get it. But you said this after the man just made that kind of history. I just think it was tasteless. And I believe that he owed not just the boxing world an apology, but he also owed Angel Ruiz apology as well. Because that was crossing the line. And I just seen him the other day, a few weeks ago, in the dressing room with Deontay Wilder when we was back there getting ready for Brazil fight. So I just think he, need to put it out there that he was wrong. He shouldn't have went about it in that way, because, that was just very tasteless to me. You know what I mean?
What do you think about people saying that the AJ needs a change of trainer?
I think it's very cliche. I think when things go wrong, this is the first thing that people look at. I think if that's the case, then he should have switched trainers when Dylan White had him hurt. If that's the case, then he should have switched trainers when Povetkin was hitting him at ease for a couple rounds with the overhand right left uppercut. If that's the case, then he should have switched trainers after Vladimir Klitschko knocked him down. But when you take a defeat and it's in this kind of way, this is the cliche thing for people to just go to the trainer. This is why it's something that Barry Robinson from A Million Styles of Boxing have told me. Boxing trainers have the worst positions in the history of sports, because when it's good, but when it's bad, it's the trainer's fault. Now, AJ is even saying it's not the trainer's fault. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I believe people are so let down, and when people get so frustrated and they trying to look at for the answers, they have to go to the head trainer. But when an intelligent fighter such as myself, and I believe AJ is intelligent as well, he really know in his heart what the problem was. Whatever it may be, we all got dark demons. All of us are dealing with demons. You get what I'm trying to say? Just because he's Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, heavyweight champion, sponsored by this person, that doesn't mean he doesn't have demons. He's human. Now that he showed his supporters that he's human, they want to switch sides. You get what I'm trying to say? He didn't do nothing but show that he was human. That's it. He got beat. He got knocked out. He got stopped. Life goes on. He got to go back to the drawing board and rebuild. McCracken is still the great trainer that he was before the other night to me. Because the same way that every good fighter or great fighter have lost, they had trainers in their corners that lost with them. I will advise all fighters, if you have a solid trainer that's loyal to you, that have genuine love for you, that cares about not just you, but your career, your well-being, I would say never get rid of them. There's nobody better for you than that. And people will say, yeah, sometimes you have to make a change. Well, Lamont Peterson never made a change. And him and Barry Robinson worked out damn pretty good. Lamont Peterson is going to go down as a Hall of Famer, I'm sure, one day.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? I don't believe Mike Tyson would have left Customato if things didn't work out. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So it's just these things that goes on that people are just always looking for answers. And I think it's so cliche after all AJ have been through in his professional career, because he's been hurt, he's been knocked down. Why wasn't a call for a switch of a trainer then? Because it wasn't no loss. But now that people feel that the money is being the threat, or all of a sudden he doesn't do this right, he doesn't do that right, I don't believe in that. I think whatever happened the other night was all on AJ and not Mr. McCracken. You know, and this is not, I want you guys to keep in mind, whatever I'm saying good, from a perspective or bad, this is not because I have some good relationship with Anthony Joshua or have some good I never met Mr. McCracken.
Right.
I only deal off of facts, common sense, and examples.
Right.
You get what I'm trying to say? I've been in this game since I've been 12 years old, and I think I may know a little bit about it. You get what I'm trying to say? I don't think it was a trainer issue. I don't think it was a training issue. I believe AJ was in great shape. I believe he put in the work. I believe everything was good. I believe it just wasn't his night. And I believe it wasn't his night because of whatever demons he was dealing with. Somebody just sent me a picture while I was on the phone, right when I'm on the phone with you guys. And AJ, I'm looking at it now, is AJ in the corner before the fight with his robe still on, with his head just down. I've never seen him like this before.
Right.
I just never seen it. Like, you know what I mean? So what I hope more than anything is, as a person, as an individual, he's okay. And, you know, life goes on, man. This is boxing. And in his position, boxing is a part of his life. It's not his life. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
You know, he'll be back.
Malik, listening to you, you're a real student of the game. Would you ever consider being a trainer or a coach?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And my thing is, I enjoy honestly working with regular civilians. And the reason why I do is because, and this may come across a little bit selfish, but I'm going to say it anyway. I love working with regular civilians that don't know anything about boxing. And I love having them and then looking at them 4 months later. That gives me a feeling of gratification, validation within myself to let me know that, wow, this person didn't even know their left foot from their right foot. Now that they have rhythm. Now they know what a jab is. Now they're throwing combinations.
Progress.
Now their reflexes look good. You get what I'm trying to say? You know, whatever I end up being when it comes to training people or whatever, it won't be a trainer that took on fighters that was already made. You know what I mean? I'm going to pray on that as well. I don't want people coming to me with fighters that's already made. You know what I mean? I want people coming to me with fighters that have issues, with fighters that have they think it's just all about, because this game is really not about the rock'em sock'em to me. Like, you hit me, I hit you, and we just go back and forth. Now that's cool and cute for the parents. I mean, for the fans and for the parents and stuff like that. But as far as being smart, you know, because in my opinion, you can entertain people without putting your health at risk. Say what we want to say about Floyd Mayweather. It's impossible for him not to be entertained and for him to have what he had. I don't care what kind of entertainment it is, whether it's on the outside of the ring or the inside the ring. Inside the ring, he's a master. He's a black belt. Even if you're not a fan of the sweet science, you have to appreciate watching Floyd Mayweather. You just have to, because he makes it look too easy on the level that he is. He hasn't fought somebody that wasn't in the top 3 in the last 10, 15 years. That's unheard of. You get what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like, I don't know, Like, the whole AJ thing, it was a real perspective shift for everybody. I remember years ago, I said, me and AJ, I don't know, we wasn't going back and forth. I said some things, and I said, what did I say? I said that he's the Black David Price. and since he lost, I've been getting so many messages of people saying, you said it years ago he was the Black David Price, this, and the third. But I think they really took it out of context, because this is what I was meaning by it. What I was meaning by it is this. This is a game of everybody loves a winner. That's just what it is. Angel Ruiz is talking to people that would walk right past him if he didn't do what he did last night. Anthony Joshua has been in Angel Ruiz's position almost his whole boxing career. Now, we're going to see how people treat him, the things that will people still gravitate to him. And in my opinion, when David Price lost, I've never seen so many fans shift from one bandwagon to another. So when I was saying that AJ was the next Black David Price, what I was saying was not technically or skillful wise or nothing like that, but I was saying the minute he lose, people is going to switch sides on him, just like they did David Price.
You don't think, you mentioned how obviously one of the biggest fights, if not the biggest fight that could be made in the sport, was a Wilder Joshua fight, that you said that some of the spice is taken out of it because Joshua, suffered his first loss this past Saturday night in New York. You don't think that it could still help it? Because I mean, like, for example, Pacquiao lost. He got knocked out by Marquez and still fought Mayweather a couple years later, and it was still such a huge fight. You don't think that maybe like Joshua, especially if he can, regain his composure and come back and win his next few fights, like as a comeback story, you don't think it could still happen in the future and just become even bigger because there's a comeback story behind it?
I know for sure it can still be big, but some of the spice is gone. For a fact, some of the spice is gone off of the fight. It just is. That's just human nature. People will prefer to see two undefeated guys go at it, especially because this thing's been sizzling for a while,
Right.
Malik, you trained with Wilder for the Fury fight, and you were the main sparring partner for Wilder for the Fury fight, and you had to mimic his style with the fast hands, and you were putting the hands behind the back, doing the showboating.
Yep.
That
was for Deontay and Fury fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that? Especially, because obviously Fury's very animated in the ring. Some people might not say he's entertaining in terms of boxing, but like he tries to put on a show with his hand movements and stuff, and we were told, and obviously there was reports that like you were putting your hands behind your back and try to mimic him, not just in his boxing forms, but also in his his animations. How was that?
Absolutely. I was talking to Deontay, yelling at him, hands behind the back, moving with my feet, hitting the floor with one arm, throwing a punch with the other arm. Because when you're boxing Tyson Fury or fighting, that's what you're boxing. You're boxing somebody who move off the timing of their own rhythm when their rhythm is very unorthodox. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Tyson boxing IQ is incredible. It just is. The guy, that's my favorite thing about him, is his IQ for boxing, for him to be that size. He understands this thing is not about rock'em sock'em. You know what I mean? He understands that the ability you have, that's the ability you have to win with. If you don't have to dig in your bag of tricks and do the rock'em sock'em thing, then don't, because I don't know, longevity in this game, man, it takes a toll on you if you don't do it the right way, and it's like I said before, it's not coincidental that I've been boxing since I've been 12, been to hundreds of training camps, been boxing Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko, fighting Deontay, sparring Deontay, boxing Fury, everywhere. And it's not coincidental that I can get on this interview and just talk to you guys straight. I'm not slurring with my words. I'm still boxing some young lions. I still can beat tons of heavyweights that's out there. That's not because I'm a stupid individual. That's because even in the ring, my boxing IQ is on point. It has to be. I'm dressed down in defense all the time. And now years later, we can have a great interview, and you guys are not embarrassed for me to hear me slur, because there's a lot of fighters. I'm not even gonna say no names that when I talk to them, the slur is gone. A lot of times I look at them from a distance, they're falling off balance. Like, it's just a lot. They go through internal mood swings, just a bunch of things that comes with this game. That's why it's very hard for me to talk shit about fighters and their performances. You know, to this day, I'm extremely thankful that I'm not one of the guys that's into going to fight parties. Every time a big fight come on, I'm either in an empty Starbucks somewhere on my laptop or in the living room with all the lights off, watching it on my laptop. I don't enjoy, you know what I mean? Even though everyone know my favorite, as far as the favorite, I believe Deontay Wilder is the best heavyweight on the planet, right?
Right.
But I wouldn't want to be at a fight party and watching everybody rejoice, watching Anthony Joshua get knocked out by Ruiz, or Ruiz get knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Now, what does that do? That makes me sound like, well, that's not sensible. It's a fight party. People are supposed to hooray, hooray, hooray. But since I'm a fighter, I just take it personal, even for my fellow fighters. I don't enjoy the shit talking from regular civilians. Oh, he's a fucking bum. Oh, he's built like Butterbean. Oh, I told you Anthony Joshua was trash. Oh, all those muscles wasn't shit. Oh, I can't be around it. It gives me goosebumps. I hate it. I start taking it personal. That's just not me. So, and I recognized that about myself years ago. So that's why I don't go to fight parties. I find an empty coffee shop, put my laptop up, and I just watch fights like that, man. And, you know, I enjoy them like that as well because I'm an analyst. So I like to analyze fights more than just watch them. Like, you know what I mean? I do a lot of analyzing instead of just watching fights. And what I really seen the other night with Anthony Joshua is I did not see the spark that is usually there. Even when he walked down the aisle, he just looked like he didn't feel like being there.
Right.
It's something with this, man. It really is. He's a good man and he has a pure heart. So he would never make up excuses. But people that know him and know his career and been following him and know the kind of individual he is, we're all like, no. It's something going on. It was something.
Right.
You know, then you see after the fight, his father is pissed off at Eddie Hearn and yelling at Eddie Hearn. It was something in that. It's just something going on, you know? And
right.
Whatever it is, I just want AJ to put it behind him and, you know, get back on track and, you know, come back so him and Deontay can fight. You know what I mean? Because that's what this all thing is about, because at the end of the day, we all are supporting ourselves and our family individually. All of us have our different walks of life that we come from. But at the end of the day, this is what makes boxing stay afloat. Big fights like AJ, big market fights like AJ, big marketable fights like Deontay Wilder, Canelos, the Pacquiaos, the Keith Thurmans, the Danny Garcias. Yeah, no matter who your favorite fighter is, just always keep this in mind. Superstars in this sport is what keep the sport afloat. The less superstars we have, the less money in boxing, the less networks in boxing. So at the end of the day, even to my nemesis, I'm still a supportive in some kind of way, because I look at it like we got, the journalists, the managers, this podcast, promoters, fighters, sparring partners, journeymen. Yeah, even when we're all against each other, I think sometimes we all need to stop and say, wow, we all are all together making this sport what it is. That's just the facts. That's even you guys right here with this podcast. Y'all are a part of keeping this sport above water.
Right.
That's just what it is. That's just facts. So I don't know if you guys do this or not, but this is from one spiritual being to you guys. And I'm going to say this. I think a lot of us, we get caught up in life so much, and we always running, and we're always on the move, and we're always chasing, whether we're chasing money, history, goals, striving, whatever, we're always chasing. Sometimes you have to stop and say, hold on, let me just look back and see how far I've been running. And you'll surprise yourself. And then when it's time to get back running and get back on track, you'll feel better because you have seen how far you came. Now you want to go even farther. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit off topic, but I was thinking about this earlier, and I wanted to make sure I tell you guys this. Never forget, it's podcasts like this that keep this sport afloat. It's platforms like this that fighters such as myself and many more love to express ourselves on for whatever reasons, for whatever topics. But if any of you guys ever get discouraged, please keep in mind, this is coming from an honest individual, Malik Scott. Y'all are part of the reason that this sport stays afloat. So keep up the good work. Don't get discouraged. Well, I don't have that many followers. Well, my numbers is not as high as his. No, your lane is your lane. As long as you're in it, you're keeping the sport afloat. You get what I'm trying to say? And that's, to me, the big picture. Keeping boxing alive. There's fights that I was in that was awful, that put a black eye on the game. We all know the fight with Wilder, the Ortiz fight, the gutless performances that I've had. Those are black eyes on the sport. Now, I'm human, and it does happen, and it's going to happen more with other fighters and stuff like that, and has happened. But the less black eyes this sport have, from boxers, from journalists, from podcasts, from managers, promoters, the better light that we all get, you know what I mean, together. Because I look at it like Under Armour, in my opinion, had an eye on boxing because of Anthony Joshua and Canelo. You take Anthony Joshua and Canelo out the picture, Under Armour is not paying boxing any mind. Mm-hmm. You take Roy Jones out of the picture, Nike really wasn't big on boxing. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Now, even if you're these guys' nemesis or opponents or whatever, you still have to respect the fact that boxing is alive because of this is going on, because this person is involved. I'm going to beat the shit out of this person, and I'm going to take his foul and make it my own. But now, look, Snickers is involved in boxing because of Angel Ruiz. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, guys, never get discouraged. I know as a podcast and just being in the world of social media, it's about numbers, it's about comparison. The best way to me is compare yourself with no one and just make the history you're supposed to make. You get what I'm trying to say? Because the numbers and all, yeah, it does matter because we live in that kind of time. But I believe when you're doing things from the heart, with a pure heart and a good work rate, whatever it is meant for you is going to come to you. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever thought about a career in commentating?
I know, yeah.
Or analyzing at times, brother, yeah, absolutely.
Fox Sports needs people.
I mean, like, I feel like, you know, there's people complaining about, like, you know, certain commentators online, and like you said, everybody has an opinion and social media, but, like, you know, I hope somebody who, you know, we get a pretty good listening fan base on this, and I hope somebody hears this and they hear the words that you're saying, or at least watch an interview from you, because you have I mean, like you said, like, you know, there's other fighters that you know, later on in their careers, you hear their words slurring and stuff, and of course, you don't want to, you know, throw them under the bus. But
bro, and this what really hurts me. Oh, I get goosebumps talking about it. I'm not going to say no names, but it's fighters that I even look up to, and I'm not the kind of guy just because I see your war wounds or see things that happen to you in the casualties of war from being in this noble art. I don't look down on you. Actually, it makes me admire you even more because I look at it like I don't know. We'll even say with my childhood hero, Meldrick Taylor. Like, he was one of my childhood heroes. Now, if you've seen Meldrick lately, it's really a sad case because, I mean, here's a guy who gave his all for the fans, this, that, and the third, but it's not one fan that ever check up on him. It's not one fan that ever say, hey, Mel, you okay? How you doing? Let's sit and have coffee. Hey, Mel, can I treat you to... This doesn't happen. That's why I be trying to tell young fighters, my young lions, I'm always putting it to their head that you are first. You have to be selfish in this sport. You just have to be. You are first. It's self-preservation first. Be motivated from yourself. You have to, because, for instance, I'm going to give you an example. Like, I love my kids to death. My daughter is my soft spot. I could shed tears by just the simplest thing she do by saying, hey, Daddy, you okay? And it'll kill me. Mm-hmm. But when I'm getting ready for a fight or when I'm training or this, that, and the third, that my love for them is not what motivates me, because I look at it like it has to come from me to help them. So I have to be motivated from myself to even help them to do whatever it is I want to do. You just have to be like that. And I believe now, can you imagine my perspective is coming from that? Then now compare that to an AJ's perspective. Can you imagine the pressure that was on him? Family, promotion, sponsorship deals, fans, sold out garden. He's fighting somebody that's total opposite of him. He's expected to run through this guy, and then it doesn't happen. It's crazy, man. Like this, but that's what makes boxing in the heavyweight division the sexiest division in the game,
Right.
because that kind of shit can happen.
Right.
It just can. You know what I mean? We're just in that kind of sport where it can happen. And that is constantly motivating for individuals like me. Angel Ruiz hasn't been busy. He hasn't had tons and tons of fights. I think he had one fight since 2017 or something like that, the end of 2017. So it's about the individual. I believe nothing mattered to Angel Ruiz besides the fact that he just believed Anthony Joshua couldn't beat him.
Right.
I truly believe he believed that. It wasn't the fake confidence. Like, I know the fake that wasn't that. He truly believed that. Because Andrew Ruiz is one of those guys. He has that Deontay Wilder syndrome. They just love to fight anyway. Like, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Deontay Wilder would be knocking guys out like that even if he wasn't a boxer. He's just boxing and training and being technical with it just make it worse for people that's feeling it. But no matter where he was at in life, he will always be a hard punching motherfucker. That's just who he is. Andrew Ruiz is like that too. Like, you get what I'm saying? Some guy, I believe Julio Cesar Chavez is like that. Like, you could call these guys and they'll just get up, you want to fight? Yeah, let's go. And they look at it how we look at it, like walking down the street. Like, he's a real fighter.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, he didn't do nothing but fight Anthony the other night. That wasn't some extreme science he pulled off. That wasn't some extreme technicalities he went through. His blood levels was this, his heart rate. He didn't give a fuck about none of that. He stepped straight to AJ and just was himself. And himself beat AJ, in my opinion, not being himself. AJ wasn't himself to me. And it probably was because of the style that Andrew Ruiz possessed. Like, you know what I mean? Because AJ have dealt with pressure before, but he never dealt with that Mexican style pressure. See, even when Povetkin is putting pressure on you, Povetkin is a thinker. Oh, he's one of the best thinkers in the division.
Right.
He dares you to throw he got incredible counters. He got good footwork. He set good traps. Andrew Ruiz is coming straight at you. And his mentality is this: I'm going to do what I want, and if you can stop me, it's going to be a good fight. But if you can't stop me, may God be with you. Because he's just going to, when he got up, he didn't take one step back. He actually looked like he became stronger. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a lot of good characteristics in that fight. I believe AJ, he constantly got up. He did. We got to give the man credit. Even though, you know, it looked like he didn't want to be in there, he put his foot in the ring. You know, he faced the music, and after defeat, he gave his man his props. You know, and that has nothing to do with boxing. That has everything to do with being a real man.
Right.
And he did it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, Malik, you know, we mentioned you've been in the ring with all these guys in the heavyweight division the last several years, you know, as sparring partners, as opponents. But you've also had another battle with a guy who's actually fighting this Saturday on DAZN, making his DAZN debut in a test of strength with Triple G in that famous video that a lot of boxing fans saw. Tell us about that. What was going on? Who called out who right there? Did Triple G call you out?
That came from strictly Gennady is just a competitive motherfucker. That's all it is. Because I walked in the gym and I seen him. And I had to get my stuff on because I was sparring another young lion I want you guys to keep an eye on. His name is Guido. He's an Italian Olympian. He just signed with Sam Jones, and he's also trained by Abel. I was up there boxing him in Big Bear. He's a damn good fighter, very fast. He's young, but he's definitely going to be like a force to reckon with. I'm boxing him, and GGG said, start working my corner. And I'm never too big to not appreciate that kind of shit. Like, I'm never too big to look at Gennady just in my corner as if he's just somebody. So inside, I'm like, damn, GGG in my corner, man, even though it's just some sparring, I appreciate him. He's giving me advice, this, that, and the third. So after we get out the ring and we shake hands, he squeezed my hand. And it all started on the kettlebells first, because he did the kettlebell turn that he do. And he was like, you're a heavyweight, you should be able to do it. And I got down there and I couldn't do it. So honestly, I was feeling some kind of way. And then my competitive nature inside it stepped up. So then when I was like, all right, man, that's it, and we shook hands, I squeezed his hand, and you could tell he felt that I was trying to squeeze his hand. And he was like, or you're trying me. And then that thing went on for 20 minutes straight. We did that for 20 minutes straight, the arm squeezing thing. Then he got in the ring. He was like, no, we're not done. Then we get in the ring. We went and we did this game of positioning. Whoever can position first with their strength to pick the other one up wins. We did that. We stayed in the ring 15 minutes with that. Afterwards, I go and do my abs. He come over, gives me a handshake. We start doing the fucking handshake squeeze. It started happening again. By the time it was over, Abe was like, all right, come on, guys. Like, shit, y'all
Stop playing around.
You know what I mean? Because Gennady would do that all night and day. He's just like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, but he's another one. He's a great guy. You know, by the grace of God, man, I'm always surrounded by people in this sport that are not just good boxers, but they are great people. And I believe that it's a reflection of myself. I believe whatever it is you are is what gravitate to you. So when I be meeting these great people, I give myself a pat on the back because it lets me know that the creator is always bringing people next to me. That's a reflection of myself. So I enjoyed that time with Gennady, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, Malik, you know, I know we know you're a busy man, especially, you know, you're sparring with Joseph Parker right now. And I'm sure when his fight is over, somebody else is going to scoop you up. But also before we let you go, your last fight was in 2016 against Luis Ortiz, and you went 12 rounds with him. You know, because some people, especially when we promoted it today on our social accounts, we had some people message us saying, hey, you know, is he retired? Can you speak on that just so fans can know, like, are you officially retired or are you
No, I'm not officially retired. But what I'm doing now is I'm fighting guys, I'm sparring guys, I'm teaching guys, I'm advising guys. And this don't just go for my young lions who I'm always in camp with, but this goes for regular civilians as well. Right now, I'm in negotiations as we speak for a big fight right now. I would say it's a big fight. It's against a very, very quality opponent. And it's set for July, but we got to go over some paperwork. I got to get with the Athletic Commission of California, and it'll be an announcement soon if it goes through. And if not, pardon me. If not, then I'll be fighting again soon, sometime, somewhere. But I'm a free agent right now, you know. And I was before this few months, I was tied up in a promotional contract with TGB, and which is also a part of PBC and the whole Al Heyman thing.
Right.
But TGB, Tom Brown, Goosen, they always been great people to me. Always helped me out, always helped my family out. Joe Goosen is one of my favorite trainers in the world, one of my favorite people. But I'm a free agent now, so I'll be able to move a little different. So that's really just been the holdup. You know what I mean? When you're a free agent, you can fight basically when you want, how you want. You just have to connect with good promoters. You have to look for tough fights. You know what I mean? So anybody out there, as far as the young lions, old heads, or whatever, that's looking for any kind of fight, man, Malik Scott, I'm always in camp. I'm always ready. I'm always in decent shape. So if anybody feeling froggy, then, you know, I'm just ready for them to leave, you know?
No, you got it. Absolutely. What a way to end that sentence. But as I mentioned, Malik, you know, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the Last Round podcast with us tonight. You know, before we let you go, we'll give you the floor. Go ahead and promote, you know, your social media account, anything you got coming up in terms of events. You mentioned you mentioned you got young lions, heavyweights and fighters to look out for. Go ahead. The floor is yours. Throw it out there.
Absolutely, man. First, I want to give a shout out to everybody that support this sport, because supporting this sport is basically supporting everybody that's in it, as far as the older fighters, the younger fighters, the managers, the promoters, the podcasters, the journalists. All of us together make one big conglomerate of success. And if you're supporting this sport, just know that you're supporting one of the most deadly, one of the most selfish, one of the most noble sports in the world. And if nobody don't appreciate you guys, I do, for sure. This sport saved my life. It gave me a perspective. It gave me an open mind. It showed me love. It's been fair to me at times, and at times it hasn't. Either way, I take the good with the bad when it comes to boxing. If you're interested in following someone real, that doesn't just live off the perception of the world, follow me at Malik King Scott everywhere, on Twitter at Malik King Scott, on Instagram at Malik King Scott, on Facebook I'm Malik King Scott. And let's exchange perspective. I'm always down to argue respectfully, even if you have a bad opinion about me. I've been in this shit all my life, so my skin is extremely tough. If you have an opinion about me, you want to say something, just be ready for me to express my truth back. Support these young lions that's coming up in the heavyweight division. Some of my favorites right now is Stephen Shaw, Junior Fa, Young Guido, Joe Joyce. What's the other kid? Daniel Dubai can fight. Damani Rock from Philadelphia. And guys, let's not forget, Joe Parker is a monster.
Right.
Joe Parker beat Ruiz. Joe Parker went the distance with Joshua. Ruiz beat Joshua. So now what do we have here? Now this is all a war attrition right now, because this is why the heavyweight division is so sexy, man. So you guys follow me, and not just for boxing, just for life. Like, you know what I mean? Because boxing is an element of my life. It's not my whole life, even though I've been in this since I've been 12 years old. So support Malik King Scott. I'll be fighting again very soon. I am not retired. I'll be in this sport until I die. Whether it's being a fighter, a trainer, a manager, an advisor, whatever, y'all can expect Malik King Scott to be in this sport. And I love you all. And thanks to my guys right here for having me on this podcast. Anytime y'all need me, I'm here, fellas.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Malik. You take care, okay?
You too, brother. God bless.
That was good, man.
I think
that was good. I like that.
I think he should be picked up.
I think he gives Mike Rodriguez a run for his money in terms of our interviews, in terms of our more in-depth interviews. What do you think?
Oh yeah, he's very articulate. He breaks down a fight really well. That's why, like, we kind of asked him, whether it's been an analysis, whether it be a trainer or coach.
Yeah. He needs a commentating job.
Oh, definitely.
I hope seriously, like,
he's been around,
he's got such an analytical brain for the sport. Like,
he's so well traveled as well. He's fought in Monte Carlo, Australia, England, Puerto Rico.
He's got a great perspective on the sport. Not just the sport, but on life. He has a lot of flavor to his words. I like it. So, especially being a heavyweight and being in the ring with all these heavyweights in the past and in the ones currently and being sparring partners, man, what more do you want? Yeah, I'm hoping. And remember, promoters, networks, executives out there, he's a promotional free agent right now. So, pick him up. As he's still fighting. He still wants to go. He's still ready. I want to see him fight, but put him behind a desk. Put him as a commentator, man. I think people would enjoy it.
I might pick him up, and you might be gone next week.
You might be gone next week. What are you talking about? You were the one crying at the beginning of the show. All these tears. I know we don't have any cameras in here right now.
Luckily.
But I'm going to start filming in here so everybody can see after Mike's countrymen lose the days before, and you can see the tears in his eyes.
It was tears of joy for a friend of the show, Andy Ruiz.
That's true. You know what? Great spin right there. Great public relations spin right there. And remember, people, Andy Ruiz dropped the news that he wanted that fight and that he messaged Eddie Hearn on our show back in April.
Good plug.
So if you guys want to listen to that show, Andy Ruiz was our guest on that one, and it was within like an hour or two of Jarrell Miller testing positive of his first test, and we already had Andy Ruiz lined up. It's not like we called him after. He was already lined up for the show, and he mentioned it saying, hey, I want that fight. I just messaged Eddie Hearn not too long ago as soon as I heard the news, saying I want that fight. And look at what happened. He got that fight, and now he's a unified heavyweight champion in the world. So thanks to the last round, he did it.
That episode's now PPL, pay per listen.
Pay per listen.
So $10 to listen.
If you guys want to listen, it's a pay per listen. No, I'm just kidding. It should be, though, hopefully. But PPL. You're an idiot. But going on to wrap up the show here, we'll go into some quick previews and reviews. I like the explanation that he gave in terms of his how he looked at the Ruiz fight and Joshua and both sides and stuff like that. I just think, I could see that maybe the pressure got to Joshua, being in New York, first fight in America. I don't know, but I also think that Ruiz was just hungry. I honestly think that shot that got him on the temple really rocked him. I really do. I really do. And I know you mentioned just before the show we went on air that Dillian White said something. He put out a video saying something about VADA testing in the U.S. is different from the UK and stuff like that. I don't want to go too in depth into that, but maybe we'll never know. Maybe we'll never know. But I honestly think that it was a shot beat on the temple that Ruiz got him with in the third round that put him down. Just didn't make him. It didn't make him the same anymore after that.
I think Malik summed it up really well. We could do literally a whole week of shows on, supposedly Joshua had a panic attack. Supposedly he got knocked out in sparring.
Yeah.
Supposedly Dillian Whyte says he's not allowed to use the testosterone or whatever supplements he's allowed to use in the UK. He has exemptions for asthma or whatever else it is. Or was it just Andy Ruiz was all wrong for him? It's just one of those things we could sit here and go back and forth and the different things. I don't want to take too much away from Andy Ruiz. At the end of the day, he won.
Right.
We don't know what happened behind the scenes. And like you said, we'll probably never know. There's always going to be excuses, reasons, whatever you want to call it. So
right.
I think Malik summed it, from what we know, I think Malik summed it up really well. Joshua looked very timid, like something maybe had happened in sparring. He did have a couple of gashes, but Eddie Hearn said, nothing happened, which he would do, trying to cover anything up. But
right.
All props to Andy Ruiz. He's our new champion.
The destroyer.
Yeah. And hopefully, looks like we're going to see the rematch towards the end of the year in the UK. And, hopefully nothing happens either way. And then
hopefully not.
We get a winner.
And then quick rundown on that card. Callum Smith retains his WBA super middleweight title by defeating Hassan and Dam by stoppage, or pretty much knocked him out. And then they're talking about him fighting Canelo. I don't think Canelo's going to take that step up. Callum Smith is.
You don't think he will?
Callum Smith's just too big. He's like 6'3". I don't know.
Did you see there was a picture of Joshua and Callum Smith like on a balcony somewhere, and they literally looked the same size?
Yeah, they looked the same size.
It was crazy.
So I don't know. We'll dive into that at a later date. And also that one, probably your favorite fight of the night.
Great fight.
Katie Taylor and Delphine Persoon for the IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO lightweight titles. So it was a unification match. Katie Taylor gets the controversial decision, according to many, 96-94 twice, 95-95, so majority decision. We had talked about this. I mean, I could see, honestly, a rematch just because there's kind of buzz around it.
Katie Taylor actually did say in an interview that she would be open to the rematch, which I think she should do, just to, rubber stamp the victory, because in my opinion, I think Delphine Persoon came in and she put it on her. I don't think Katie Taylor was used to it. Her work rate was amazing, and I thought Persoon won at least 5 rounds.
Right.
I think a draw, I would maybe have accepted the draw just because Katie Taylor's the bigger name and they're always going to get a round or two, unfortunately.
Right.
No, but yeah, right. I thought it was a bit of a robbery, to be honest with you.
A robbery.
Yeah.
And then also this past Saturday, which went under the radar, and at the Saboba Casino out here in San Jacinto, California, right here in Southern California on Fox Sports 1. Ivan Gredkach KOs Devin Alexander in the 6th round. And then Willie Monroe Jr. gets the unanimous decision win in a middleweight bout over Hugo Centeno Jr. So that was a PBC card, but obviously, the Joshua Ruiz fight. Ruiz is a PBC fighter. Not real quick on that. Al Heyman now has all the heavyweight belts.
Yeah.
So Wilder, now Ruiz. So going
to keep those hostage.
Let's see what happens. And then this Saturday, June 8th, once again 3 weeks in a row, there's the zone cards at Madison Square Garden. Gennady Golovkin makes his debut against Steve Rolls. Makes his DAZN debut against Steve Rolls. This past Saturday it was Joshua on DAZN. This Saturday is Triple G on DAZN. Next Saturday it's Bellator on DAZN. Bellator MMA. So DAZN's got Madison Square Garden on lock.
Whoa, this is a boxing podcast.
I'm just saying, in terms of DAZN, we want DAZN to do well regardless. We want them to do well. All right, I'm just saying.
It's also Triple G's first fight under new trainer Jonathan Banks.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes, see if there's anything different. Also, this weekend from the Reno Sparks Convention in Reno, Nevada on ESPN, Oscar Valdez returns against Jason Sanchez for the WBO World Featherweight title. 6th defense of his WBO title. Reportedly if he wins, he could fight Frampton after, so we'll see how that goes. And then real quickly again, Wilder announces that he has signed contracts to fight Luis Ortiz next, and then Tyson Fury in early 2020. So
they're getting ripped up.
We'll see how that goes. And he announces it like
they're going to get lost in the post.
Yeah, they will. So we'll see how that goes. And then you want to take the last one, your favorite one, another king, Amir King Khan
will fight Nurja Goyat at the King Abdul Sports city in Saudi Arabia on July 12th, the WBC has sanctioned the fight for the special WBC Pearl title.
I'm not even going to touch that.
And it just shows how much of a big name Amir Khan is, as he's getting $7 million for that fight.
I think we'll leave it there.
I think that's a good way to wrap up the show.
I think that's a good way to wrap up the show. $7 million Amir King Khan. That's what I wanted to ask Malik Khan. What do you think about all these kings? King Rai, King Khan, King Scott. Maybe we'll ask him next time. He'll be back on the show, hopefully. But once again, for episode 36, we'd like to thank Malik Scott, heavyweight fighter, veteran in the sport, for coming on this week's guest and giving us a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of analysis. And then, follow us on social media at The Last Round 12. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all your favorite platforms. But once again, I'm Danny Z for Michael Shepard. This is The Last Round.
Thanks for supporting and listening to the show. Follow us at The Last Round 12 on social media. Rate, review, and subscribe. This is The Last Round Podcast.